Welcome to the Michigan Runner Show. Join us each time as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great sport.
Gary Morgan with Michigan Runner News, and we are here at the USA Track and Field Junior Olympic Championships. And we have some young ladies getting ready to do the 200-meter dash. We are currently here at Savannah State University. Beautiful stadium here and a great place for a track meet. Lane track, and you can see there, and there's the whole stadium in there. I've been busy officiating, so they're getting ready to take off here. So they'll be calling them up in just a minute.
On your marks. Set.
Go, no retry!
There they
Let's
go.
Go!
So we'll walk around this complex here. Plus, host the last running event. They did relays up for tomorrow because they're running late. And but anyway, I will do some more filming. There's the big scoreboard, and we'll do a little tour of the grounds tomorrow as things are winding down here this evening. And we'll do a few little things down in downtown Savannah, this beautiful city on the Atlantic, on a big river, major port. So anyway, we'll head on out, and like I said, over here was the long jump all day long, and they're still doing a triple jump over there, people watching. So anyway, it's time for me to take off and go from there. Okay, hello everyone. Well, here back at Savannah State University at the USA Track and Field Junior Olympic Championships. So anyway, I've been out here working the shot put. These two pits right here, I was working that one right there. And kids come in anywhere between 8 and 18. They got age groups, all that other fun stuff. So that's why I've been working right over there. And here's the other pit. Over here is the discus throw right there, and the hammer. They're currently got some kids over there throwing the discus, and track officials, like I said, out there measuring it. Then over here we have the javelin. It's called the turbo jab. No, this is the real jab. So they're out here throwing it, and like I said, behind there they've got a complete complex here. The baseball field, I think they got tennis courts. This is a complete university. Really, it's a pretty nice place. I'm impressed that they found this place too. And that moss growing on the trees there, those oak trees with the moss, it's symbolic with these coastal towns all the way up and down the coast from North Carolina all the way down to the bottom of Florida. That white oak with that moss growing on it. So anyway, we'll walk over to the stadium area, check that out, and like I said, get a feel about what this university is like here. A part of the entrance to the university here. Welcome USAT&F athletes. But over here, we'll get, and they got a gate here, like everywhere. But I'll show you the, you got a nice brick wall here saying Savannah State University, and there it is, Savannah State University. System Georgia established in 1890, and here's the whole entrance to it. Here's obviously cars coming in and out of the stadium here. So anyway, we'll walk on down and check out what else they got. We got T.A. Wright Stadium, home of the Tigers, and here's the stadium from a different view. We have food trucks all along here to feed the masses. About 7,600 athletes are here for the week. And frozen lemonade. And we'll walk in over here, the USAT&F store. There it is, the roving van. Stadium. So we're going to get a different view of the whole stadium over this way. Nothing spectacular, but a nice nice stadium for the university. And so there's where you get your tickets. Go right up through here, right there. Okay, we got the masses here. And here we are over through here. So there's the stadium here. Not a whole lot of people out here. They're not running a super lot of events in the middle of the day because it gets so hot. But there's the whole stadium. So, and we'll go some tourist sites around the city. This is Savannah State University track and field and football complex. Okay, here is a better view of the scoreboard over there. And here comes some runners here. I think they're running an 800-meter run. I don't know what age group, but there they are. There they go, they're on the track. Pretty cool. And like I said, this is the whole track right here. Get a little better view of things. Yep. Savannah State University Tigers. Okay, well, we're here at Forsyth Park. This is where part of the Forrest Gump movie was filmed. Part of it right here, along here. And up here is a famous statue. This is one of the most famous parks in Savannah. And so this was to Lafayette, who was a general during the Civil War. And they've got a huge statue to him there, so that's kind of cool. And then over here, they have this beautiful amphitheater fountain. It's got a fountain in front of the amphitheater, which is kind of cool. Right there it is. Their kids are playing in it in a hot 95-degree day. I'm sure that's quite a spectacle to have a concert there or something. And then this is a huge mall-type lawn. Other end, I see they're playing some soccer. He's waving to us here, kind of cool. So anyway, we're gonna go check out a little bit more of this park. And then it's on the other side also. It's a 30 to 50 acre park. So one of my fellow track officials told me to come on over here and do check this out. So here it all is. Here's the other side of it. Right there. All up the way right there. So, yep, beautiful park here. And like I said, this is a pedestrian zone right through the middle here. I have to admit, Savannah is a very pretty city with all these hanging whatever moss on these white oak trees. And this statue here, all the way up to the top of the Civil War, to Lafayette Laws, Major General, Confederate States Army, born in Augusta in 21, died in 1897. So, and it's all, we got a big fence around it. But here's the view down this pedestrian mall. So check out what's down at the other end. Here's a little bit of history on Forsyth Park. They conceived this park in the 1840s with about 10 acres started it. And it was first recreational park And Savannah then was named after Governor John Forsyth, who was governor in the 1840s, obviously, and they created it in the 1850s, improved it, and in 54 the fountain and radiating walks were added. So park is over well over 100 years old. Parks are made, they don't just show up like this. But here's one of the walkways that way. This beautiful park. I heard this was, some of the stuff was the scene of Forrest Gump movies. And then down here they have a restaurant. I see it's not quite open. They got a kids playground and a real nice restaurant there. So this is my third time to Savannah, and first time I'm truthfully getting to see a few different things. There's another walkway, and I'll check out, see if I can find out the big fountain, or is that the one that's out here in front of this restaurant here. You can get a little closer look. There's a kids play area next to it with all these trees and shade. The heat is truthfully not unbearable. And yeah, this is a nice looking restaurant here, and it's called Collins Quarter. Collins Quarter Restaurant. Well, beautiful spot. Okay, well, here's a little better view of the whole park down that way. So kind of cool, a beautiful spot. I'm walking into the Arboretum here. They say it's the Forsyth Park Arboretum, and it's approximately 12 acres, and it has over 50 species of native and adapted exotic species of trees. Well, let's go down and check it out. Definitely a lot of beautiful trees through here. Okay, well, here is the huge fountain. I see they're currently working on it. Not too much work, but this huge fountain that is currently dismantled. What is happening? Well, we'll have to check one of the billboards here, because they are telling us what's going on with this. This is the signature thing, the signature fountain of this beautiful park. Fountain facts. Approximately 10 million people visit Forsyth Park Fountain each year. The estimate is based on Savannah's annual tourism, which draws over 14 million visitors, making it the fountain one of the most visited landmarks in the city. Pictured to the left is St. Patrick's Day greening of the fountain, a festive annual tradition that draws thousands of spectators and highlights the fountain's cultural significance to Savannah. Each year, approximately 70 weddings take place at Forsyth, making one of the Savannah's most iconic and romantic ceremony locations. Framed by sweeping oaks and historic charm, the fountain serves as timeless backdrop for couples beginning their lives together. Although three similar fountains exist, Forsyth fountains hold the distinction of being first installed. The others exhibit variation in color, spray configuration, as illustrated below. Broadway Fountain, Madison, Indiana. Inca Fountain, Peru. Soldiers Memorial, Poughkeepsie, New York. And of course, the one right here. And of course, some of the featured films here. That's the greening of the fountain, but Cape Fear, The Longest Yard, Forrest Gump. He was here in 1997. Midnight of the Garden of God of Good and Evil, Gingerbread Man, Divorce Party, Baywatch, Lady and the Tramp, Love Takes Flight, The Poison Rose, The Underground Railroad. Well, a historic place that is currently being rebuilt. Well, we'll see when it's done someday. Sign about the restoration. Restoration of Forsyth Park Fountain, repairs decorated in structural iron pieces, plumbing fencing the surrounding fountain. Well, that's interesting. I see another sign over there that will tell me a little more about it. Here is a memorial to Marines who served in World War II and gave the supreme sacrifice and the first to fight all over the world during the World War II. So, yep. And here is the view down the mall here, the walkway. Pretty cool. Wish the fountain was working. There's all these beautiful trees. This is pretty cool. It's a 50 different type species of plants or trees here in this park. Pretty cool. We're at the base of the park. That's a Marine Memorial, erected in 1947. Dedicated, like I said, November 11th in 1947, United States Marine Corps. And there's the view all the way down. Wow. What a beautiful view. That's pretty cool. This beautiful mansion, that's what it's called, the Armstrong-Kelser Mansion. Wowee. Pretty impressive. And look at the gated, the boar inside. Pretty cool. That's awesome. Palm trees. Okay, let's walk on down and see what's down here. There's some church or something over here. We will see what it is. It's just outside the park, so we'll find out. An aisleway, back way, alleyway, made of all stone, of all brick. Pretty cool. Another square. It's called Monterey Square, and I see a statue behind it. So we will go over and check out why it's called Monterey Square. It's a beautiful little square. Savannah's got a lot of them, and they're all historic and beautiful at the same time. Well, this statue is to Pulaski. That's the name of the fort. Heroic Pole who fell mortally wounded fighting for American liberty at the siege of Savannah, the 9th of October, 1779. Yep, an American hero straight from Poland, who was a general who fought in the Polish-Russian War before he came to fight for America against the British in the American Revolution. A little bit of more history of Kazimierz Pulaski, but like I said, the great Polish patriot, a general from Poland who came to fight for America, for American liberty, and was killed at around the Battle of Savannah in 1779. Well, an American hero straight from Poland. Awesome. When he was mortally wounded in his leg, fighting for America. Savannah, in 9th of October, 1779. Way up to the top. Well, an American hero straight from Poland. That's awesome. Well, the house right here to the left over here, they said, is where Jefferson Davis spent a few days in 1886 to celebrate the centennial of the St. Chatham Artillery. Big celebration, and like I said, he was right there at that house there, so pretty cool. I don't know what building that is, but that looks pretty spectacular. We'll go by the front of it here in just a minute. These moss-lined streets are pretty cool, and then they go from pavement to brick. Pretty cool. Same way on that side too. Yep. Charming city of Savannah. So this building is called the Scottish Rite Temple. I don't know what's all in it, but probably it looks like some small businesses in it. And then behind me is the Savannah College of Art and Design. This is an old building they've redone, and was found this Savannah College of Art and Design was founded in '78 with the mission of preparing talented students for creative professions. Good. And so this building was built in 1892, and of course now it's been called Potter Hall. two founders of Mary and Paul Potter, the founders of SCAD. SCAD is International University with location in Atlanta, Lacoste, France, and Savannah. And the Savannah Volunteer Guards, organized in 18, was an infantry. The corps fought in the War of 1812, Indian Wars, and his battalion in 18 serving with the distinction defense of Savannah and Charleston. In the spring of 1864, joined Lee's army at Petersburg. On April 3rd, 1865, serving in the rear guard of the retreat, approximately having been reduced to 85 men. 23 were killed, 35 wounded, and remainder captured. Reorganized in 1872, served as an infantry battalion, Spanish American War, Battalion 61 CAC in World War I, as a 118th FT Battalion in World War II, where they were awarded 5 battle stars. Reorganized in world and now is an active unit in the Georgia National Guard. The Army erected in 1892. So, turn an old building into a university. Pretty cool. There's a little bit of work of SCAD right here. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And then over here, and here's a couple of the cannons out in front of the building, showing that it was a former guard house, military house, and now a college art museum. Pretty cool. They got some cool stuff right there. Some art to buy right there. Unique building with a unique idea. Got to think outside of the box. Way to go. Old Madison Square, and we'll see why it is. Scottish Freeman started this right here, so yeah, that's kind of cool. I love these historical markers. Lots of history here in Savannah, with all its southern charm. I see the March to the Sea. This is probably about General Sherman going from Atlanta to here. In December of '64, during the U.S. forces under General William Sherman captured Savannah, completing the March to the Sea, a military campaign designed to destroy the Confederacy ability to wage war and break the wall of its people to resist. After destroying Atlanta's industrial and business, but now residential sermons, 62,500 men left that city in mid-November and marched over 250 miles, reaching Savannah by mid-December. Contrary to popular myth, Sherman's troops primarily destroyed only properties for waging war: food, railroads, train depots, factories, cotton gins, and warehouse. Abandoning their supply base, they lived off of destroying food they could not consume. They also liberated thousands of enslaved African Americans. Sherman's hard hand of war demoralized the Confederates, hastening the end of slavery and the reunification of the nation. Sherman's March to the Sea. Here is an Irish American who fought in the Battle of Savannah, and like I said, he was mortally wounded also. And once again, October 19th, 1779, the Battle of Savannah, America against British forces. Yep, pretty cool. Horse carriage there. Waiting for some, they got a couple riders on it. Kind of cool. So there's a little bit of everything. Sergeant Jasper. That's who this is. This was Sergeant William Jasper, Irish American, fighting for America in the Revolution. Lots of cool historical spots here in Savannah. Okay, well, Madison Square. This was laid out in 1830 and is named for the 4th President of the United States. Around the square stand notable example of Greek Revival, Gothic, and Romanesque architecture, characteristic of 19th century Savannah. St. John, a variety of special places and hotels. This is kind of the center of the city. And then there's old Sorrel weed house, beautiful buildings. And then we see the carriage here. They're getting ready to go for a little ride. So as you go down each few blocks, there's another little square that people do go around. So maybe I'll walk down to one more and then back to the park. Well, I don't know the name of this beautiful church here, but across the street I do see a placard and we'll check it out. But they are working to do some renovation work on it, which I'm sure it's well over 100 years old and needs a little bit of work. Okay, let's go check it out. And the Ghost and Gravestones tour, the sights, the fright scene tour. So they give little tours around the city with one of those. Some flowers here, kind of cool. So this is the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist. The late 18th century, fleeing revolution in France. The church became a cathedral in 1850. And the fire destroyed it. It was done in 18, then the fire destroyed in 1898. So it was quickly rebuilt and reopened again in 1900. A major restoration took place in 2000. Today it is a place of worship and a seat of the diocese. Includes 90 countries in southern Georgia. Beautiful building to say the least, yes. This is Lafayette Square with a small fountain in it. And so that's kind of cool, like I said. So we'll get a quick picture of this and head back to the car and then head back downtown. Hey, well, the Lafayette Square is so named in grateful recognition and to the aid given to the colonists by the Gilbert Monte Marcus de Lafayette, the friend of Washington. Yep, Lafayette. The French helped America win its independence. They didn't like the Brits either, so, you know, it goes both ways. Okay, let's walk up to the next square up. Kind of cool. And this is called Taylor Square, without a fountain, but just a little bit of parkland around it. Kind of cool. And here's looking down that way. And we'll head over this way. There goes out the Georgia Queen for a little paddle boat ride. And here is a road right up the way here. All cobblestones. Pretty cool. The Ghost and Gravestones here. And I'm gonna go across the street. And there's a couple buildings I wanted to check out. Walking on the main street just above the river walk there. And all these tree-lined oaks with the moss. That's pretty cool. And then we're out here in front of the old Harbor Inn. Like I said, Savannah's a pretty city with a lot going on. Even I'm kind of impressed. They've done a lot to make this a highly touristic city here in southeast Georgia. Okay, another statue here to the Chatham Artillery, a major defense group here in the city that still helps out with the Georgia National Armory. A cool statue, a Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Right there, it's the country of Vietnam with the boots, a hat, and a rifle up on a rock, surrounded by water. That is pretty cool. That is really, really cool. Yeah, a lot of cool things in this city. I'm impressed. And a cobblestone driveway going down to the riverfront, and a little bridge going over it. Kind of cool. Yes, kind of unique. A little higher view of the convention center across the way, and a huge hotel. And I'm walking this little walkway right along these little townhouses here. Kind of cool. Little shops along the way here. Cool little 2 Cracked Eggs restaurant. sightseeing tours here. I guess I should probably take one. Okay, the Savannah Cotton Exchange, built in 1887, now the home of the Chamber of Commerce. But anyway, in its day, Savannah was the #1 port for cotton. Bales went out of here, over 2 million bales a year. And anyway, we have the lion over here, and over here also we have the history of the old Savannah Cotton Exchange. And it was completed in 1887, when first as a cotton seaport on the Atlantic, second in the world. And then in front here, I love it, we got the orange lion spitting out water. That's pretty cool. Some historic stuff along and unique buildings here in Savannah. These are called the Washington guns. They were used obviously in the Civil War, and common just before that, close, somewhat like these were used in the Revolution. But anyway, the Washington guns from the Chatham Artillery, pretty cool. Fertilizer was a big deal down here in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and became a big deal here in Savannah and all of southern United States. It definitely increased food production tenfold, to say the least. And now Franklin Reed Delaney Industry owns a lot of phosphate fertilizer. Okay, in a city hall. And it was the first city hall they had here, and it was built in 1906. And it had a city exchange and some other buildings, but now it's been in continuous use since 1906. Well, this tablet here commemorates the centenary of the Savannah, the first steamship across the ocean, and it did it in May of 1819 and got in there in June of 1819. A 1-month crossing, first steamship to cross the Atlantic. Pretty cool. Vessel to be seen American waters, and it was riveted together and launched here in 1834. Yep, first steel ship in 1834. Here's a great view. That is City Hall with the good cupola on the top. That's City Hall, Savannah City Hall. Pretty cool. The side street, way down the way there, that is the City Hall. That's a pretty impressive City Hall, to say the least. Yep, Savannah City Hall right there. Pretty cool. Okay, here's one of the statues here by the riverfront. And here, right here, we are looking at the Plant Riverside District. They got the River Walk, and JW Marriott's kind of the base of it here. But this is pretty cool. And there it all is right there. Inside the JW Marriott, they have all kinds of crystals along here and rocks inside this phenomenal building. This used to be the power plant for the city of Savannah. They have now closed it. JW Marriott came in and turned it into an exclusive hotel with tons of treasures of the earth. Look at all the crystals here. Those are pretty cool. Right there, they all are. And they got 32 of them here. Go ahead. So anyway, and one here, number 29, Copper Nugget, Keweenaw Peninsula, Michigan. Where would it be? Dink, dink, dink. Where's that copper? There it is. That looks like the Copper Nugget up there. Looks like it. I don't see anything that looks that coppery. That, you know, that bright green stuff right there. And the one below it could be, well, that's number 6 or 21. 29. Here's the Copper Nugget right here. Number 29. That's on the Keweenaw Peninsula in Michigan. Pretty cool. Here's another Copper Nugget from Keweenaw Peninsula. They got a bunch of them here. Here's another one. Anyway, here it all is. A fossil. They've made themselves a dinosaur out of metal here. This is truly a phenomenal museum of natural stuff. Like I said, crystals. It's like a natural history museum. All kinds of crystals, mammoth tusk, you name it. Skeletons of prehistoric creatures. Look at them. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Wow, it's impressive. Right there. Wow. And then they got all these lights on it. This is pretty cool. This is like, wow. A giant tortoise shell right there. Right there, some more crystals. This is inside the JW Marriott here on the riverfront.
That's a turtle.
Here.
That's it.
Giant tortoise shell. That is
Wow,
phenomenal.
how long do you think that lived?
That's pretty
Tortoises live a long time.
Wow, look at this stuff. Look at the dinosaur. That's pretty cool. Wow. Now here's a bunch more crystals. You name it, they got it here. Swarovski. Some more amethyst. Look at the size of those things. I had to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a stone like that. Wowee. And over there is the old switches for the electric power plant. One set of them. Pretty cool. And like I said, this is the lobby of the hotel as you come into this phenomenal JD Marriott Hotel. Dinosaur head down in the bottom of when they were building this thing. Wow, pretty cool. There's one of that. Look at the size of that crystal. Yeah, they split it in half there, the opening. Wow, pretty cool. Here to the riverfront. I checked this out a couple nights ago when I first got here, and it's a riverfront like Detroit. Only ours is much longer, much different. But anyway, this is where it's at right here. There's a high-speed pontoon boat. There is the bridge, and beautiful, getting ready for a beautiful sunset tonight. Water pad. This is a huge shipping port. Huge. It's one of the largest in the country. They put a few $1 billion into making a huge shipping port. And then this is the river walk all the way down through here. Lots of shops, cool spots along the way. Looks pretty cool to me. I think it's awesome. And here's lots of shops along the way, people walking along, and there's City Hall. They are the smokestacks from the powerhouse. Those are 176 feet tall, and it's high. And there was a couple others that were up 274 feet. This was one of the largest power plants in Georgia in its day, and then, like I said, closed and reconverted into a major hotel. JW Marriott took it over, but here's right here on the, I think this is the Savana River. There it all is. This is awesome. This is Georgia Power, and this is the history of this power plant. And here's one of their lighthouses they have at the top. You know, this is helped them probably with the crane operation in its day. They have this plaque. And then we've got another one right over here. So we'll check that out. Talking all about the Savannah plant Riverside. Yep. These are called electric moons, and right here from an 1883 lithograph of Savannah, where the earliest form of street lighting in the city. A tall graded mast was used to support a circular army of lights that could light the whole area of the city. The modern electric moon that lights the riverfront here at the plant today will call the unique period in Savannah's modernization. Yep, a lot of history in this town. Kind of cool to watch it all be transformed. That was one of the smokestacks right there that went up 274 feet. Wow, wait. Sculptures. One of a face here. That's cool. And then we have another one over here. Pretty cool. Yeah. This is a music collection inside of here. And that's a 125th anniversary drum set. And this is the Great Grish Sound, Georgia Southern University and Kessler Collection. There they all are. Pretty cool. Yep, pretty cool. And there's all kinds more of all. They've got all kinds of stuff in here. Pretty cool. Still in the JW Marriott, and since we are on the river, they have a tall sail ships collection here. That's kind of cool there. Bunch of more tall ships. There they are, more tall ships. Pretty cool. Yeah. Great collection. Here's one of these splash pads at night changing colors. That's pretty cool. All the neon along here. Let's look at the river now. It's getting a little bit dark. Lots of people still along here. Beautiful sight along here, to say the least. Comes the river boat, bring Queen back. Pretty cool. Hey, here is the Georgia Queen riverboat. Takes people up and down for tours along the river here. That's a big boat. 1, 2, 3, 4 stories. And then it's got a huge paddle wheel. Big crowd on there tonight. And there it all is. It's getting ready to dock here in a few minutes. But it's the Savannah River, the Georgia Queen, Savannah Riverboat. There it all is. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. People are all excited about getting off. And here is the paddle wheel on the back. There's the paddle wheel. That thing's huge. Of course, it's a big boat too. Right there it is. They can drop that thing or take it up. Either way. But pretty cool. Yeah. There it all is. And the big bridge. And then there's the Savannah Convention Center. Huge hotel across the way. I'm not sure which one it is. And the river. Walk along here. Pretty cool as we've been in and out of it. There's the power plant, the JW Marriott. Pretty cool. Well, I'm on another wild adventure here. I just took that boat there, the Cumberland Queen 2, to Cumberland Island National Seashore. Here's kind of the walk-in semi-visitor center. This is a semi-deserted island, and it's a national seashore. So just stuff here to see. Maybe go swimming. Here's along the largest island of the coastal islands in Georgia. And like I said, historical place for the Indians and settlers who came through here. A few buildings, so we'll go check it out. Oh, an island preserve. This, thousands of years things have been happening here, and to protect it. And like I said, with no buildings out here, it's pretty unique. And here it is. Welcome to Cumberland Island National Seashore. And so just do some hiking out here, and probably go all the way to the beach. We'll see how it all works out. We got a circular route. So little roads here. The south end loop. I'll take a picture of that. Probably in my, but there it is. Part of the islands out here off of the coast of Georgia. And there it is right there. People are walking that way, so I think I'll start heading that way myself. A sailing ship, but being motorized to say the least. So that's kind of cool. It looks like it might be getting ready to dock here. It's coming mighty close, so that's kind of cool. The British were here for a short period of time during the War of 1812, so that was interesting. They were everywhere during the war. Over there, the mainland, right, and we're at the Dungeness Dock and Dock House. And over here, got one of these old houses. So we'll see what it says here. It says restrooms, so they do have those. But we're at the southern point of the island here, and I'm going to go to the Dungeness ruins is where I'm headed to. Okay, well, if I have time, I'll hop in the water, but if I don't, that's okay too. Okay, well, I guess time to get rolling. I see they got some horses here. Kind of cool. We got some horses out here. That is pretty cool. Got 3 of them. They're wild horses. They're just wandering around. Look a little thin, but when you live off the land, you get a little thin. Got some people over here. Got a white one, a black one, and a brown one. Pretty cool. There they are. Wow, wait, pretty. Kind of cool. We're gonna hike out this trail right out here to the Dungeness ruins. Like I said, there's ruins out here, so it'd be kind of cool. Well, we're coming into the Dungeness. Looks like a mansion was here years ago, 50 to 100 years, probably close to 100 years ago, and Park Service took it over. But anyway, it was quite the place from here, as you can tell. And here's the little road I walked up. It's kind of cool with the moss hanging down from every tree. Oh, that's the southern states along the coast, always moist. Okay. In its day, it had to be something. That thing is huge. A couple of gated spots here to come in. And I see lots more wild horses hanging out. But there it is. Pretty cool. Its day, it had to be something. Yeah, well, we got a little plaque over here telling us all about it. It looked like in its day right there. Boy, it was something. It was, like I said, Lucy Coleman married Thomas Carnegie, and like I said, they purchased most of the land in 1881 and built this phenomenal mansion. And so yeah, wow, there it all is. It was something in its day. There it all is. And there's another guest house there, some horses. Let's see what's over to the way here. Right there, yeah. There it is, some wild horses. Looks like 4 big ones and a baby over there. Well, let's go see what's at the quarter house over here and maybe walk around the back side of the mansion. View of the horses there. They look kind of scrawny. Huh? You gotta feed for food, and it's hot out here. Got the baby there. It's called the Tabby House. Pretty cool. Well, this is the Tabby House. This is interesting. General Nathaniel Greene of who was a revolutionary general for the USA. His wife, Catherine, had this house built in the 1800s. It survived the Civil War, may have been a gardener's house until shortly after Union, and then the Carnegie family bought this land. And it's still in one piece. It's beautiful. And it was all made with a mixture of oyster shell, lime, sand, and water. The house is a product of this island. That's pretty cool, and it looks phenomenal. Yep. Natural materials can last forever. And then this here, the pergola, that says 1898. So it looks like something you'd grow some grapes or something on. And then this wide open pasture here. Pretty cool, the pergola. Yeah, there's the side of the house there. That's cool, yeah. So there's other visitors here. The boat was filled up, but it's Saturday, so you gotta expect this. A tabby house. This is a beautiful, nice home. I love it. Okay, let's go to the front of the mansion. Well, that's it was from Nathaniel Greene to Thomas Carnegie's. Both of their wives took care of everything. Catherine was married to Nathaniel Greene, and Queen, you know, it was Lucy Carnegie who took over and built this into a 50-room mansion in its day. That's pretty impressive. And Nathaniel Greene started it. The war hero over at his statue is over there at Greensboro, North Carolina. This place is pretty cool. The fountain there. We got a lookout spot. So we'll do a little hike around here and check out the lookout spot. Okay, the back side of it. Put a new battery and I'm ready to rock and roll. Okay. Another, you know, elaborate building is a game room kinda. A little bit of everything. Heated pool, the whole shot, right? There's all the foundations. And there's a place that kept it warm. Probably the furnace kept everything warm. Pretty cool. Wow. It's impressive. There they are. All the wild horses fighting a little bit. Yep. Just doing their thing. Cool. This was the ice powerhouse. They had a complete estate here. It had a little bit of everything here. It was their own compound here between, like I said, the Carnegie Mellons, Carnegies, and before the Greens. So unbelievable what they built out here. And here was the carriage house. It's just, for a small island like this, that's a carriage house. Wow. Okay, these are all the different things that are inside a tree or on a limb. The green fly orchid, the southern needle leaf, Spanish moss, resurrection fern, bale moss. Yep, that's what's on all of these trees. All that Spanish moss. And here's another house here. Unbelievable. The complex they had here in their day here. A couple of them are now private residences, but that's okay. Beautiful buildings. Yep. Today, these oak trees were used to build ships, and then all over the world, and then these are second growth trees with the Spanish moss on them. Pretty cool. Yep. There it is. Cool. Well, it took a team to keep this place going. Over 100 workers were on this island in the late 1880s, maintaining this estate, to say the least. So pretty impressive. Wowee, that they could keep it going. That is definitely impressive in their day to have that. Here's some of the buildings. They've all been restored, obviously. They're 130 years old. And this path here goes somewhere. We will see here in a minute. Couple of horses. They're all over the island. horse, a horse, a horse course. Unless and Mr. And there's the dune crossing, which I probably will not be doing. But anyway, I'm gonna walk up this road a little bit, see what's up here. Well, gonna head through the Salt Marsh Sanctuary. So we're gonna check it out. Well, I'm getting ready to go across the saltwater marsh boardwalk. So here it is. As we're looking around here, it's a hot, sunny day. And here's the marsh out here. This is the mix of salt and fresh water. Goes for miles at these coastal islands. And there it is up the way. So I'm gonna walk along here and check it all out. Here's the dunes out here. Not quite like Michigan dunes. They got a lot of growth, but here they are. Pretty cool. And then there's the path across here. Okay, I'm gonna head it back. 360 on this marsh here. There it all is. There's a boat going out right there. And then right up against the shoreline here. And there it is going back. Here's a final resting place of a fair amount of the Green family. Nathaniel Green's wife and probably children and some other close friends. Henry Lee, who was the Robert E. Lee fathers, died here while visiting Dunnigus. So a lot of different things over the years. And right here, these are the resting spots of the cemetery. Kind of interesting. The Miller Green Cemetery is what it is, and a view of the marsh. Pretty resting site. Cool. Well, we're walking through the maritime forest, all these overhanging trees with the Spanish moss. Kind of cool. That's what we just came from. Beautiful spot here. This is cool. I love it. Well, still on this moss-covered two-track, a little dirt road. Some people walking that way, and I'm going this way. Okay. Well, we're heading up to the boardwalk here to go out to the beach. But right here is the trails, the trees, all the other fun stuff. And there we all are. Cool. We're finally out here by the beach area. All these dunes. Pretty cool. We got a boardwalk takes us out. And this is a little map of where we're at. Jekyll Island. And there's Jekyll Island in the north of us, Cumberland, Amelia. And Cumberland is the largest Georgia's 18 barrier islands. Bearing the brunt of the wind and the waves, these short, wide plots of earth protect the mainland from onslaught of ocean weather. Georgia experiences highest tidal range, south tidal, and Georgia's coast experiences a highest tidal flux. It also receives lower wave energies because 70 miles from the edge of the continental shelf. Waves from the open ocean lose energy. They flow over this massive drop-off. By the time they reach Cumberland Island, and its nestled wave energy has lessened. Huh, that's interesting. Pretty cool. Here's all the dunes, and the sand, and the trees, and the ocean. Here we are. Cumberland Island. We are out here all the way out to the beach out here at Cumberland Island, the furthest and the biggest island of all of the Georgia coastal island. Beautiful beach. As you can see, just a few people here. It was great going out in the water. It's warm. Wowee. And then there are the dunes. And I'll be hiking back right to there. But yeah, this spectacular is definitely, this is a national seashore. Cumberland Island, National Seashore. This was spectacular coming out. Well, gotta head up through that trail, through those trees, and back to the other side of the island for the ferry boat ride back to St. Mary's.